channel that's about baking and much more. A warm welcome to my channel. Somehow, thinking of vegetable cutlets always reminds me of train travel. As we in India know, the Indian Railways vegetable cutlets are a hot favorite on long distance trains. Well, today we are going to make equally crisp and tasty or even tastier vegetable cutlets in the patty cake kitchen. What's more, today's recipe is a very flexible one. You can change the combination of quick cooking vegetables according to your taste. You could also change the shape the cutlets by hand or use molds. And you could even change the mix of spices and make a subtle change in the flavor of the cutlets. But today, I'm going to show you how to make vegetable cutlets in a new way. Okay, now without any further delay, let's get straight into making this favorite Indian snack right now at Patty Cake. Like I had mentioned earlier, for this recipe, you can choose your own mix of vegetables. Add on a few more or drop some. But there's one vegetable you absolutely must include: potatoes. That's because these not only add to the taste and texture, they also act as a binding agent. These potatoes weigh half a kilogram. I boiled them in my pressure cooker for around 12 minutes. If the potatoes have cooked properly, you'll be able to peel off the skin very easily. But see that you don't overcook the potatoes. That would make them develop cracks, and then the water they're being cooked in would get into them. And we don't want that, because to shape the vegetable cutlets properly, the vegetable mix has to be as dry as possible. We'll now mash the potatoes to a pulp. You could do this with a potato masher, but I prefer using a fork. Here's half a cup of green peas that I had boiled for around 3 to 4 minutes. We need to crush these coarsely, either with a fork or a potato masher. Like this. But we don't want a smooth paste, and if some green peas remain intact, that would be okay. Here are our lightly crushed green peas. And here are some of the other vegetables we'll be using. 3/4 of a cup of finely chopped carrots, 3/4 of a cup of chopped green capsicum, and half a cup of chopped cauliflower. I chopped all of these using my handy dandy chopper. This is a useful gadget to have in the kitchen, and it's not too costly either. For those interested, there's a link in the description box below. However, if you don't have one, use the sharpest knife you have and chop the vegetables like this. This is half a cup of chopped green beans. The next vegetable we'll use is beetroot, the vegetable that gives the railway vegetable cutlets their unique taste and color. I've already peeled this one, but we'll use just half of it. This could be around a 1/4 cup. Here's our colorful and nutritious mix of veggies. Other vegetables you could use include onion, cabbage, and colored peppers. In a kadai or wok, we'll now partially cook the chopped vegetables to increase the shelf life of the cutlets. Here I have 2 tablespoons of oil heating on a medium flame. To it, I'll add 3 finely chopped green chilies and saute these for a few seconds. Next, let's add a 1/4 teaspoon of hing or asafoetida and half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, and saute this as well. And then we'll add 1 teaspoon of crushed garlic and 1 teaspoon of crushed ginger and saute this too briefly. Now let's add in all the chopped vegetables except the beetroot. Let's stir fry these on medium heat for around 5 minutes till they are partly cooked. We don't have to cook them fully. They need to still have a crunch to them. We also have to see that they don't get burnt. After 4 to 5 minutes, we'll add the chopped beetroot. I didn't add the beetroot too early because I don't want the vegetable mix to become dark red. I prefer a pinkish red color. Our vegetable mix looks so colorful and appetizing. Let's saute all the vegetables for 2 more minutes. And then add in 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of sugar. Let's mix this in well. At this stage, the veggies will release a little water, but we'll continue stir frying them for a couple of minutes till the released moisture evaporates. Next, to enhance the taste even more, we'll add a few spices. 2 teaspoons of coriander powder, followed by 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, half a teaspoon of pepper powder, 1 tablespoon of amchur powder. Instead of this, you could add 1 tablespoon of lime juice and half a teaspoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of chili powder. Let's mix everything nicely. Then I lower the heat a little to medium-low and mix in the boiled and mashed potatoes and the lightly crushed green peas. Now here's where we'll add a twist to this recipe. In place of breadcrumbs as a second binding agent, we'll add 2 special ingredients for binding all the vegetables together: pohe or flattened rice and whole wheat flour. I measured half a cup of thick pohe and then ground it to this coarse powder, which now measures a quarter cup. I'll mix this in and then add in 2 tablespoons of whole wheat flour. To keep these cutlets gluten-free, instead of wheat flour, you could add corn flour or besan, that's gram flour. Now let's turn off the heat and taste the mix. I think it needs just 1 teaspoon of sugar and half a teaspoon of salt. You could also add a little more chili powder at this stage if you want to make the vegetable cutlets spicier. After letting the mixture cool a little, we'll check its texture. It should be like this. It shouldn't stick to your fingers. But if it's a little sticky, mix in some more ground pohe and whichever flour you added earlier. Finally, we'll mix in half a cup of chopped coriander leaves and let the mixture cool completely. In the meanwhile, let's prepare the materials we'll use to coat the cutlets. Let's prepare a medium thick slurry using a quarter cup, that's 4 tablespoons, of maida or all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of corn flour, and around 6 tablespoons of water. For gluten-free cutlets, you could use just corn flour, that is 5 tablespoons of corn flour. The slurry should be thick enough to lightly coat the back of a spoon. After dipping the cutlets in the slurry, we'll coat them with some ground pohe. I got this from 1 cup of pohe. Of course, you could always use breadcrumbs instead. This is just to let you try something different. The cutlets can be shaped using molds like this, but you could also shape them by hand. We'll use one hand to dip the cutlets in the slurry and the other to coat them with the ground pohe. I divided the cooled mix into balls of this size and will now shape each one into a cutlet. You could first grease your palms lightly with a little oil if necessary. The cutlets can be molded into different shapes like this. You could make a teardrop shape like the traditional railway vegetable cutlets, or give the cutlets a heart shape. But I'm going to make round ones. Let's dip the cutlet in the slurry and then coat it with the ground pohe. Let's pat the pohe layer lightly so that it adheres well to the cutlet. This will ensure it doesn't come off and get into the oil while deep frying the cutlets. Let's make another one. I was able to make 14 cutlets. I'll now keep these in my fridge for around 20 minutes to let them set before deep frying them. My oil has been heating on a medium flame and I'll now add a few cutlets to it. See that you don't overcrowd the pan, for we don't want the temperature of the oil to drop. After around 2 to 3 minutes, we'll flip these and let them fry on the other side as well. We'll fry them till they are crisp and nicely browned. Let's check how the other side has fried. These cutlets look like they're done. So I'll now remove them to a colander lined with an absorbent kitchen paper towel. Let's fry another batch. These two are done. The vegetable cutlets can be enjoyed with tomato ketchup or any sauce or chutney of your choice. Our cutlets are beautifully fried and are nice and crisp. Hear that? They are that crisp. Now let me cut one. Perfect. Crisp on the outside and deliciously soft and moist inside. Believe me, these are just bursting with flavor. You absolutely must make them at home. You'll love the taste. But don't forget to subscribe and share the recipe, okay? And till we meet again, happy cooking!